Okay. Oh, muted. There we go. Better. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having
I can
a good
hear
evening.
now.
Yes. They couldn't hear me though. As usual. How is everyone? I hope we're all good. I hope that I see Dr. Clive Wells is in the chat. I see Tusk is in the chat. I see Sir Little Wolf is in the chat. I hope you guys are doing really, really well. It's good to see you guys again. I'm sorry it's been a while since I've streamed. Last weekend was a bit of a crappy one. I was supposed to have my Scientology stream, but Chris Shelton had a bit of a life thing happening, so we had to cancel. So that's why I brought out a video instead. And yes, it was a bit of a clip of the last stream that I had with him, but it was just bringing down to the basics of what is Scientology. So that's what I did. It took me a day and a half to do. I didn't realize editing a video was just a 15-minute video would take me that long, but I'll get better as I do it more often. That video, I think that stream, I think cutting up streams it takes away from the stream itself. It takes the views away from the stream itself. But I admit that I'd rather go and watch a 15-minute clip of the stream than to watch to watch the whole entire stream again. Yes, so I thought Clive Wells was supposed to be on tonight. It was my mistake. My calendar wasn't updated, and I've had to do a clone of my new drive, and I've been fixing that the whole day. So I've been quite busy, quite apologetic, and it's been crazy. So luckily, Jenny was the only one Jenny and Clive were the only ones that organized today. So they set me straight today. So I thank them very, very much. Jenny had her diary organized. Clive Wells was the one that said, you said the 21st. So I'm not going to say sorry for that. I'm just going to say I apologize. But it's great to have people around me that are organized. It's been a bit of a crazy week for me in terms of work. I've been all over the place. It's been crazy busy. And so, yes, I am grateful that you guys are here. And Jenny, thank you so much for being here as well. It's much appreciated. And it's good to have you back on a stream again with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's nice to be on the show. I've heard it a few times, but I've never actually been on this before, so this should be fun.
Well, I am going to try and have new people on. If I do a repeat, it's because I enjoyed that. It's not that I don't enjoy anyone. Anyone that's on my channel before, always has a open invite to come on again. But I do want to try and get to a lot of new people first, to get to different people before I start re-inviting new people, the people that have been on before. I think that helps a lot of people. It's not the same thing over and over again, the same people over and over again. I want to try and have different people on, So I'm still gonna get to the people that people want me on, like Simon, Dan. I want to try and get Mr. Sensible on. I still want to try and get Creaky on, and so on and so forth. Bacon has been on. He was the first one that was on my show. So what misunderstanding are you talking about, Little Wolf? It goes back to something I was discussing with Roxy. Oh, the sorry thing. Is that what we're talking about? I'm confused. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. You guys are more than welcome to tell me in the chat. I don't mind. We'll pick that up as we go. So as we know, it's 4 questions, and I'm looking forward to the questions because, yes, I've always looked forward to the questions and hearing what people have to say about them. And as you guys know, I don't know the questions. I haven't looked at them before. These I did like months ago, even last year, June, July, somewhere. I did these questions, so I cannot remember them. They're brand new to me now. So yeah, so there are 4 of them, and we will do one question, discuss one, and then we'll bring it over to the chat to hear their side of the stories as well, or their opinions, should I say. Then no discrimination of our opinions, please, everyone in the chat. And I'm sure you all know already. My opinion is my opinion. Jenni's opinion is her opinion, and so are yours. So it's an opinion-based discussion. And if anybody comes in and says otherwise, it'll be time out or a ban on my own discretion. So with that, there are no right or wrong answers, unless it's information that is freely out there that one of us or someone got wrong, then it's fine. But in terms of opinion, there's no right or wrong answers. So when we finish discussing, myself and Jenni, we will bring it over to the chat, and we can discuss further, or then move on to the next question. So with that, Jenni, anything you would like to say before we get on to chatting about the first question?
No, it's a fascinating format that you ask people the same questions and be able to compare what different folks say about the same topic. I like it, and I like that idea of the chat involvement too. So let's get at it and embarrass me.
Well, I involve the chat because I don't know. I feel that when it comes to live streams, that having the chat involved is very important. It makes them feel like they're part of the conversation, and it's just the same. Hearing their opinion is important to me as well. And it just makes it just as fun as well. So this is why I like to involve the chat as well. And most of the time we have intelligent people in the chat. So that's why I also like hearing their opinion. So I see Mr. Andreas has joined us as well. So welcome. So let us start with the first question.
All right.
Okay. Seems like a long one. So let me just open this up more. Right. First question is, know thyself is an ancient concept going back much further than Socrates, and is at the root of much philosophy. With that in mind, what are the most important things to learn about oneself, or is all knowing equal? All self-knowledge equal. Shall I say that again?
Sure.
Know thyself is an ancient concept going back much further than the Socrates, and is at the roots of much philosophy. With that in mind, what are the most important things to learn about oneself, or is all self-knowing equal? Sorry, self-knowledge equal. All self-knowledge equal.
I didn't realize that you were going to try and make my brain bleed.
Don't worry, mine too.
Well, gosh, self knowledge is critical. I mean, you can't become a mature adult without having some recognition of yourself and how you react in situations. You have some predictability of yourself, or at least understanding of yourself to know what tomorrow may bring or may not bring. So it's certainly something that we all do, but it's also pretty clear that some go deeper into it than others.
Yes.
Um,
Well, I mean, if you take yourself, for example, and the journey you've been on as a trans woman, you knowing yourself was an important journey to get to where you are today. Am I right? Or finding out about yourself.
Absolutely. It's also well, I don't know, I was almost said unfair, but it's different for anybody, trans or not. It's different for anybody who's been through an extended period of therapy, psychotherapy, because there, of course, you're forced to look at yourself as well,
Yes.
in a very intentional way, sometimes
Yes.
oriented to whether or not you're going to survive, and so somebody who's been through therapy is going to have a different opinion of it than most others, I think. Yes, as a trans woman, I have had to go through tons and tons of self-reflection and understanding. And I don't know. I think it is all equally important. Um, I can't say that. Oh well, I learned. Okay, knowing that I don't like lobster is less important than knowing the kind of person I hope to fall in love with. So clearly there are some introspections that just don't matter. But geez, this is a good one. This is a stumper.
They mostly are.
You you come into this process of being trans and figuring out if you are trans. You go through a huge amount of self-doubt, and that in and of itself is a very strong influencer on your level of self-awareness that you develop, or self-understanding. I'll use those terms interchangeably. And I think if you don't do that, you're definitely going to mislead yourself. You're going to walk down a path that is very likely not meant for you, and it could have a very negative consequence in your extended life out in front of you.
Yes.
So taking the time to get to know yourself is critically important, and we do go through a great deal of it. What's interesting though is that you don't stop going through that once you've, I'm going to use the term completed your transition, although the transition never really ends. But the majority of it, the major portion of it does have an ending. But once you've reached that point, you still aren't changing, or eliminating the need for self-reflection and the understanding of yourself, as you face certain circumstances that you never have before, certain individuals that you never have before. An example being, we all know that there's the haters that are out there. Have I ever been confronted by a screaming, yelling hater who's threatening my life on the moment, face to face on the street? No, I haven't. I've had people who are very subtle and nasty in their hate, but I've never had somebody actually threatening my continued existence. So if that ever occurs, I'm definitely going to have to look at myself and see how I'm going to deal with that. because I certainly don't want to strike out because they'd probably kill me. I'm not terribly strong.
I think you're stronger than you think.
No, physically, no, I am not.
Okay.
Emotionally, I think I am, but physically, no, I'm not.
Yes. Well,
um,
I went through a time in my life where when I was with someone that it was always um it was always and that guy and me. It was never myself. It was never just him. It was always us together. And whenever I used to sign cards and things like that, it would be his name then mine, or it would be his name then mine for anything. We would go together everywhere, and eventually I started losing myself in that relationship. Like I didn't even know where my boundaries were. Like Little Wolf said, I didn't know where my boundaries were. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. I didn't know who my friends were anymore. So it's just, and then when I got out of that relationship, I started finding out, started going through the process of getting to know myself again, and that was hard for me because, I've always known, for 4.5 years, it was just him and I kind of against the world,
mhm.
and then it's, and for me to get out of that, I had to really have a look at that relationship and realize, okay, wait, this is abusive. I need to get out. And it took me 6 months to get out because I just felt that I couldn't be loved. I didn't think I'd find love again. So it took me a while to get out. And even when I did break up with him, it did take, I broke up an engagement as well. So it wasn't just a boyfriend thing, it was an engagement as well. So, it took me some time to break up and get out and actually realize that I will find love again, So, and then just realizing that for me to find love again, I have to be myself. I have to find myself. I have to know who I am. And I didn't even give myself a chance before I found someone else. And only after the third time I did that to myself, going through another abusive relationship, did I realize, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm giving myself a chance. I'm going to explore myself and who I am. And for 1.5 years, I did that. And I found out who I was and I realized who I was. And I've got my boundaries are set. I know who I am and what I like, what I don't like. And it's me. It's not myself and someone else. It's all me. And even today, when I sign cards to say happy birthday or something to someone, it's my name first and then my partner. If my partner's signing, it's his name first, then me. It's not I'm never going to put my partner's name then me because I'm not second best. I'm not second to my partner at all. It's me first all the time.
Isn't it interesting how little things like that will affect us?
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you mean with the naming the first or second, and I know when I address things to couples, I know I will very intentionally mix up whose name goes first and whose name goes second, for that very reason. That there, if you do it consistently one way, well, then you're kind of putting somebody at second base, and that's just not the
Yeah.
way it is.
Yeah. I think it's important, no matter where you are in your relationship, what kind of relationship you have, is to always put yourself first, because if you don't, you're going to suffer in the end. You're not your partner, you. So knowing your boundaries, knowing where you stand within your relationship, knowing where your boundaries are, and knowing what crap you can and can't take is very important. Very, very important. Because if you don't, then are you really being yourself? Do you really know yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So And here we go. Here's one from Mr. If it's okay, Mr. Andres. You know, only now at that age, you know, it's you never too. Let's just put it this way: I don't think you're ever too old to figure out. Okay, it is just me now. It is just me. I need to know myself. I need to put myself first. And I'm not saying be egotistical. I'm not saying being self-centered and, you know, all of that. There's a difference between being egotistical and putting yourself first.
I don't think putting yourself first is ever egotistical.
No, that's why I say there's a difference between
yeah,
the two.
no. I think if you don't put yourself first, it's actually fairly pathetic. That you would give yourself up to another person for whatever reason you may think it's necessary. I remember when I worked in social services and dealt with a lot of psychiatric patients and stuff. You know, this is back in the 70s, and things were different in how they were dealt with then. But I can remember a number of clients that we had who were women who were being abused physically by their spouses, and how the absolutely most difficult thing to get through with these women is to say no. that this person does not have the right to do this to you. How can you stay with them? How can you say, I can't leave? What do you mean you can't leave? This is about your survival. This person is close to killing you, and you're not willing to walk out. You're not willing to even process that possibility in your head. And it's how a person can let themselves be so completely melded into another person for some neurotic need. I do not get. It's especially saddening that this goes on under the guise of religion. It goes on under the guise of love. It goes under the guise of I don't know, just human companionship, which I'm treating as different than love, at least on the intensity and that sort of thing. But it's just not an uncommon feature of anybody or not anybody, but a large number of people even today who let themselves be eaten up by another thing, whether it's a person or a cause or you know, a religious belief or something like that. And it's just, wow, how can you do that?
I just think it's important to. I think as Clive says, I think for most people, self-acceptance is something that comes with age. Comes easier with age. I think it also comes with experience. I really think it comes with experience as well, because when I left him, I was 24, and then the second one, it was a couple months. So I think I was still 24. No, I just turned 25. Actually, no, it was the New Year, so I was still 24. And then I found the next one when I was 25, and I left for another 4.5 years later. So there was another 4.5 years of my life gone to someone that treats me and makes me feel like I was second best, you know? So, I mean, even our birthday was on the same day, and he would say to me that it was his birthday, not mine. I was like, well, you know, really, how can you be, you know, that immature kind of thing? It's just crazy. It's just crazy how people think. And after him, you know, that's when I said to myself, that's it. It's enough. It's enough abuse. Enough making me people. It's enough people making me feel like I'm worth nothing and I don't know who I am, or making me lose myself within the relationship. Should I say? You know, it's just insane to me. Yeah, Little Wolf, it was crazy, and he was younger than me. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, anyway. So it's just, I know who I am now. And yes, I go through times, and I'm going through depression now where I feel like I've lost myself again. But I'm at a place now where I know who I am, and it's basically don't F with me because I'll F you up, kind of thing, because I will just walk away because, yeah, I think that's even better. I'll just walk away because I don't want to be in a situation where people are telling me who to be, what to be, where to be, who I can and can't be friends with. Because then that person is going over my boundaries. It's just disregarding my boundaries completely. And I am not for that at all. So yeah, I'm talking too much.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I think it comes with age and experience. Experience, I think, is can be any age. You don't have to be, over 40 to be experienced. I mean, I went through three manipulative and abusive relationships all before I was even 30. So, and I've learned.
And just because you're over 40 and you have experience doesn't mean you're going to be making the correct decisions for yourself.
No.
Or the healthy decisions for yourself.
No.
There's no guarantee.
Well, I mean, you can be any age and figure out that, hang on, this is about me. It's all about me. And people need to know thyself. And once you know thyself, you'll be a lot happier in life. And everything else, every other happy thing should come along with it. Didn't say well, it should. Sometimes life does throw you curveballs, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it does. I'm in therapy currently, and I'm not going to get into nitty-gritties about it.
You don't need to.
But it's the first time I've been in a therapeutic relationship since I transitioned 40 years ago. And it's amazing how much I've discovered about myself this time around that I didn't 40 years ago. And I can clearly see it in myself how it is because I chose to avoid those things 40 years ago. Because I felt some of those things would work against me at that time. And with the advantage of time, age, and alleged wisdom, boy, I wish I was able to express to young people how important it is to get through this crap now when you're young, because it will just eat you alive for your entire life if you don't deal with it. And I thought I was smarter than that. I thought it was I could outthink this shit. I'm smarter than that, and you're not. Human emotions and brains and things just don't work that way. If you got an issue going on, you may start in the background somewhere, but the brain wants to continue and complete unfinished tasks. And if that means it's going to ruminate in the background in your subconscious for 30, 40 years, it's going to do it. And damn with the results, because you haven't taken charge of the process. And it does what it's going to do.
Yeah. I actually think a lot of people learned about themselves during this time of plague. A lot of people realized how much extrovert they were compared to before we had the plague here. So I think a lot of people have learned about themselves. For me, my life hasn't much changed in terms of being a socialite. I'm more of an introvert. Unless I'm out and about, then I become an extrovert. So that, it just depends where I am. But I'm happy to be at home doing my own thing. I don't have to go out. I really don't. So and as Mr. Andres, he said the same thing. The past year hasn't been much different for him. It's just the same as the year before. And I think, like I said, a lot of people have learned about who they really are because they've had to be in their own company for a long period of time during the plague. So I think a lot of people have started coming to terms with who they are and have accepted who they are during this time. So as much as it was a bad thing, and I'm not negating anything that has happened during the past year, I think a lot of good has also happened in that time in terms of people getting to know themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a kind of a silver lining in some aspects. Oh, I think it is. In regards to this in regard to this topic, I think a lot of people did get a chance to figure out who they are and get a chance to be, to find themselves.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you find the willingness of a given individual to go into self-introspection, which is kind of a stupid way to put that, who choose to look at themselves and discover themselves? Do you find that there's a stronger likelihood that men or women will proceed with that deliberately?
I'm sorry. Repeat that again for me.
Okay. The premise I'm coming from is that whether it's a man or a woman, that people are not likely to choose to become introspective unless something happens in their life to demand it. And what I'm thinking is, out of the people who do not choose to, or who do not have a crisis in their life that forces them to go into that, who do you think is more likely to choose to go into that, shall we say, preventatively or prophylactically, men or women? Is there a difference? Do you see a difference at all?
That is a great question. I don't think so, in terms of there being a difference between male or female or men or women. I don't think there is a difference. I think as people, it depends on their life and what they've gone through. And I think that, as Mr. Andres says, I think for anyone, it takes a traumatic event, to trigger something that needs to change in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be, excluding a friend or excluding a family member or excluding a whole group of people, or getting out of a situation like a job, or, a business deal, or, whatever it could be. And yeah, and a traumatic event for most people is is like the step back to say, hang on, what's going on? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's related to any, to men or women. I think it's just anyone, people, as a general. Actually, no, I'm not going to even sidetrack on that. I think it's just it depends on what the person is going through. I do find that there are sometimes men take breakups a lot harder than women do. Sometimes the woman will go through the breakup right at the beginning, and they'll go through the whole traumatic experience, where the man will be out drinking and having a good time, and then when he actually realizes what the hell's just happened, even if it's months later, then he starts mourning their relationship. And I've found that to be true because besides one, let's just say the two out of the three relationships that I had just before this one, two of my exes have called me to ask me how I am and if I'm happy, and they want me back. So it's just I don't know. I think it just depends on the experience, and depending on the situation, like a breakup, I do think that men take it a lot harder because it takes them a lot longer to actually come to terms with what has happened. That's my experience, at least. I mean, I can vouch. Two out of the three exes that I've had have phoned or messaged me or phoned me to ask me to have me back, or how am I doing, and they want me back because they're not happy, or here's what I can give you to make you happy, as if that thing is what broke us up in the first place.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think I tend to agree with that.
I see Kirsten says, and welcome, Kirsten. Nice to see you again. Also, I saw Fauna Raisin pop in as well. It's good to see you, honey. In fact, he as well. So Christian said, I've heard that many relationships end happily, some in marriage.
Say that again.
Kirsten, yeah, I'll put up on the screen for you. She says, Kirsten, I've heard that many relationships end happily, some in marriage.
Are they ending happily if marriage is in the picture, or is ending the wrong word? Is that they continue on?
Yeah, what I'm understanding is maybe it ended in such a way where they got back together and got married. I don't know.
I have personally, I have no idea. I imagine there's a lot of married people out there that seem to be very, very happy together. Yes. I've known many married couples that are just intensely in love, and you feel like it will never end. My parents were that way. They were absolutely in love with each other.
Okay, so Kristen said it was a joke.
I'm sorry?
Kristen said it was a joke.
Oh. Okay. I feel better now.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Kristen. That was clever, very clever. You got us both there. You really got us both there. And Chrisma, no, you're not chopped liver. You're chopped kidney. Better. Is there anyone in the chat that has any statements that are not jokes that would like to talk about? That was a deep joke, yes, and that we both fell for it.
Well, it's a valid point, joke or not. There's a lot of relationships that the people seem very satisfied and happy with, and don't seem to require the formality or the paper chase of marriage per se. For other people, that symbology is something that they feel they need to help define the relationship. I mean, I guess either way is perfectly fine by me. I'm thinking of one couple I know Bob and Michael Lynn, who lived together for 28 years, and then decided to get married, which is like, what? But it came down to for tax purposes, for just the legal status that it offered. Okay, well, I guess I can understand that. There's certain things that marriage then allows in a legal sense that not married does not allow.
Yeah. All right. I think we can move on to the next question. How about you?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do that. So next question. There we go. Okay, so what do you think existed before the universe was created? Because I think this is quite personal, you know. Hi, Jess. How are you doing? Nice to see you again, honey.
I've never been pressed to give my opinion on this. So I'm gonna have to form this out right now. I am not religious.
And that's fine.
I do not buy the God thing at all. In fact, I tend to think that religion and I should generally be in the same room together. And so what was there before, the same thing that's there afterwards, just rearranged.
Okay. Never thought of that. I mean, for me, I don't know what was there before. It could have been utter peace. It could have been complete peace, or it could have been utter chaos. You know, and for me, I mean, with what I believe being pagan, and I follow and trying my very best. I follow the Greek mythology, and I'm trying my best to learn about it, and it's not going too well. But anyway, I believe that chaos created the universe. So, you know, there's normally peace before there is chaos. So, looking at it that way, there was probably peace. And that's what was there. I don't think there was some kind of matter there, or something there in terms of something physical.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was peace before chaos erupted into what we know as the universe today. And even the universe today is not peaceful. It's utter chaos in a peaceful way because it works so well.
Because it works so well, because it's so far separate from itself. That those peaceful moments or chaotic moments could be interpreted as peaceful because they're just not interacting with anything.
Well, I think it's peaceful because of how it works as it's, you know, so how a neutron star can be chaotic, but it's peaceful because it works so perfectly. So how it actually works is peaceful. It just works. You know, there's nothing there. We all know how a neutron star, you know, collapses, or how a star gets to a neutron star.
Mm-hmm.
You know how these things work. So that makes it a peaceful transition, a peaceful situation. What makes it chaotic is if something gets in its way. What makes it chaotic is what it actually does. But to go from, you know, the actual transition into a neutron star is the chaotic part. But the actual the actual process of it is peaceful. Am I making any sense?
Are you sure you want to use the word peaceful and maybe not the word ordered?
Maybe ordered will be better. Yes. Yes, I think ordered will be better. Everything in the universe works in an orderly fashion, in an ordered way. Because at the moment, I mean, we know how neutron star works or how it gets there. So there's no surprises. So it's not chaotic. We know it's going to go from here, from point A to point B. We know that, you know, the star Betelgeuse is going to collapse into a black hole because it's so massive and dense. That to me is a peaceful transition, or an ordered transition. So I think peace and chaos work hand in hand and create a balance. Feels like I'm talking like shit. I'm talking shit. It makes sense in my head, guys.
There is a school of thought though that Betelgeuse will not turn into a black hole. That it doesn't have the right elements to it now to achieve that state. That it may supernova, but it doesn't necessarily have to turn into a black hole after that. But I'm not an expert. No, I've never had any education in astronomy, so I'm just kind of babbling on what I've heard other people say and maybe misinterpreting that.
Well, you and I both. But so Clive says, since time is part of the universe, the question makes absolutely no sense. The word before has no meaning. So I think that this question is probably more for people that are, that do believe in something that happened before the universe began. So maybe this question is invalid for this conversation. We are more than carry on, and I can find another question to replace it.
I've always had the question though in my head when you think about the beginning, the first moment, the first 200 milliseconds or whatever they want to talk about that as, or the period before. How long was that period before? Was the universe at the end of a process that the Big Bang was an inevitable outcome? What was everything in the universe in a state of compression, that it all self-attracted and it all went back into one singularity, and it reached the point where it had no choice but to Big Bang? And if that's the case, why do we look at our universe now and see that it continues to expand and speed up at the same time, demanding that at some point everything will be so far apart from each other that you will not be able to see anything from anything, and each thing will be a singularity unto itself.
I just want to answer Clive's question. Who created chaos? The chaos. Economists say they did. If you're going on a spiritual question, a spiritual point of view, and the first part of the question, or the first part of the question is, I don't know who created chaos, and I'm not going to pretend I do. I'm not going to say that he was there before anybody else, because I do believe chaos is a god, being part of the Greek mythology, the Greek mythos. I don't know who created him, and I don't know how he came to be, and I'm not going to pretend that I do know, because I'm not that kind of person. I don't know. And I'm going to tell you straight out that I don't know, and I'm not afraid to say that I don't know. Yaksha, nice to see you. Isn't it bedtime for you? But it's good to see you though, Yaksha. It really, really is. I don't know who created chaos, if that answers your question, Clive. And I'm honestly being seriously honest that I don't know who created it. So I'm sorry that I cannot answer your question. Hang on, here's Yaksha's question. Sorry, I just want to, oopsie, wrong one. Sorry, that one. The chat moved. Was chaos created? Wouldn't by definition it be the lack of creation? Now that's a discussion on its own. That's a question on its own. Yaksha, maybe I should have put this in my list of questions, because that's a really good question. Was chaos created? Wouldn't by definition be the lack of creation? What do you think, Jen?
To answer that, I'm trying to think of how can chaos be ordered?
Chaos can't be ordered.
Can it?
Otherwise, chaos.
Maybe it can, and we just don't know how.
Well, if it can, it's too big for our brains.
I mean, don't people study chaos theory and basically have some rules about it? And if they have rules about chaos theory, doesn't that mean there's certain amount of order to chaos? And is it order that is the sign of creation, or is it change and building upon things to take what is there and to make it something different that is creation?
My brain has just died. My brain is obviously. The question was disgusting. My brain just literally died. It's gone blank. I think Kate left my brain in pieces. It's just entered.
We used to do this stuff all the time back in freshman, sophomore in college. You'd get yourself a load of pot and hash and smoke your brains out, and then just talk about this kind of stuff. Whether or not it was true or anything, just because we're sounding smart.
I'm trying to sound. I have no idea what this means, Clive. Could, would, should, I suppose.
If I had any clue what that is about, sure we could, but I'd rather not try to pretend I can talk about something I have no clue what it is.
Yeah, and Clive, I knew the economist part was a joke. That's why I just answered the actual question, not the economist part. So I knew it was a joke. So here we go. Chaos. Chaos could be created, but structure isn't necessarily a hallmark of creation. No, it doesn't have to be. I think, I mean, when I organize my desk at work, or when I'm busy working at work, my desk looks like an utter mess. And I call it what is it called now? Structured chaos. You know where everything is. You know what's going on your desk, but it's in order. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So and then when I leave, I pack everything away, and it doesn't even look like I worked. So. And that's how my brain is. Like, I have papers all over the place. I have pens and notepad and 300 different Excel spreadsheets open, and I've got music playing in the background, and I've got Discord open, and I've got I've got something open somewhere else, and Word is open there, and and it's like chaotic. People are like, "What the hell? Do you even know what's going on your computer?" I'm like, "Yes. This is here, this is here, this is here. This is why I have 3 screens at work, because I have my laptop and I have 2 other screens that I have work on. I told them I can work faster with 2 screens, so they got me another screen. And I do work faster because I can now see wherever everything is. And I don't have to alt tab every time to work on my computer. So it was just chaos, absolute chaos, and I didn't know what the hell was going on until I got my second screen. Now it's just structured chaos, But I think without chaos, there is no peace, and without peace, there's no chaos, because you don't know one without the other.
I see. I wonder if by its very existence that chaos does not create order. That by having chaos, many things are, or parameters are messed around with, are mixed, are flexed, are come and go, change places, have other experiences, that eventually certain commonalities or repeated behavior, or repeated attractions, or um, um, reactions from incidents or contact exist, and that over time, the more and more that those occur, the more and more order becomes prevalent over the chaos. And so that eventually chaos ends in order. I think a simple analogy would be put some water in a blender and toss a bunch of particulate in there and blend it up and have total chaos and see how it settles out eventually.
But yet again, it's, peace goes into chaos, chaos goes into peace. And without one or the other, you won't know what the other one is like. So same with positivity and negativity in your life. You don't know what negativity is without positivity. If you only have positivity in your life, you're never going to know what negativity is. So when it does hit you in the face, you're going to think, what the fuck is this? You're going to, you're not going to, you have to have both in your life to understand both. You have to have both chaos and peace in your life to understand both and work through both. And yes, we've gone off the whole topic of the question, but it's fine. We're working through it. It'll be a great circle. We'll get back there. But it's. I think life is always about balance. You need chaos and peace. You need positivity and negativity. You need light and dark. You need the balance in life to know what the other one is. Because how will you know what light is if you've never seen it? How would you know what negativity is if you haven't seen it? How would you know what peace is if you haven't seen it? I mean, some people's lives are so chaotic that if they get a chance to even sleep, that's peace to them.
I haven't seen Nuclear Winter, but I think I know enough about it to know I shouldn't want to deal with it ever.
Well, I mean, we've had experiences where we've had towns experience a nuclear blast. So we know enough to know what happens afterwards. So we know this is not what we want. With Chernobyl First World War II, with the
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
That's those two. Sorry, the words just slipped my mind. So we know enough of what happened just in those three blasts alone to know that we don't want a nuclear winter. So it's all just. I mean, but that is something we would never have known what a nuclear winter would have been like if those events did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So here is something from Clive Wells. The origin of the universe is a low entropy state. It is a low entropy state. The gravitational modes are not excited. This needs explanation. The way curvature, Weyl. Never seen that word in my life.
Weyl curvature hypothesis.
There we go.
I believe Weyl is the last name.
Okay. I'm sorry. I've never seen that surname or word in my life. But thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate this.
Well, that was just a guess, so. Another thing I've never heard stated before, what Clive just had. Could you put that back up?
Of course.
I sorry, folks, I do not have proper access to the internet. I'm living on one phone, and so I can't see the chat and the StreamYard at once. A low entropic state.
Okay,
Those are not exciting.
Yes, that is the name.
Why does it need explanation?
I'm not too sure. This is exactly what he said. Shall we? Let's go to, I think Tusk says here, I think the word we're looking for is entropic. Entropic. Entropic? A state of order that descends into chaos. Everything is entropic and carries the seeds of its own inevitable decay. Paperwork doubly so. Yeah. Look, if I don't keep up with my paperwork, it does get chaotic where I start stressing and I start going into like an anxiety situation. So I try my best to keep my paperwork in order so I know what the hell's going on. But yes, I think sometimes peace can unravel into chaos. I know in a game that my friend Yaksha is playing on Twitch at the moment, Bioshock. It was peaceful when the city started until people started getting addicted to drugs because it was not regulated. And so chaos ensued, and people just all they wanted to do was take drugs, and that was that. And they did anything and everything they could to get it, even kill. So the city went from a peaceful 1950s city into a chaotic ghetto mess, if you want to call it that. It was just a dumpster fire, basically. It was an interesting. Sorry, that was an example that came to me. So I do apologize for going into gaming. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It was just an idea. It was just it was just an example that came to my head. It started off peaceful and then unraveled into chaos. But an event had to happen for it to unravel into chaos. Okay, so let's just see what else anyone has to say in the chat. Clive does say if chaos is a maximal entropy state, then it cannot evolve into a lower entropy state. Second law of thermodynamics. That went right above my head because I'm sure, chaos can unravel and go into something worse than it was. But anyway, Jenny, anything you would like to say to that?
No, absolutely not. I didn't take physics. I don't know this stuff. I'm not very smart,
I speak English.
Do we have another question?
Yes, we do. We can carry on to the next question. I think thank you everyone for that. But I think a lot of what you guys are saying are going over our heads. I think
I'm an old hippie. I'm much better at touchy-feely than physics.
I'm sorry, Clive. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's get to the next question. Take that away, put that one on. And the next one is a life that focuses on avoiding pain and seeking out pleasure a good and worthwhile life? Why or why not? No. You can't know pleasure without pain. You can't know pain without pleasure. But seeking out as much pleasure as you can or happy times as you can in your life is a good goal to have.
It is natural for us to seek a situation where we do not experience pain, physical or emotional. It's avoidance of pain is a basic premise of human nature, I believe. No child puts his hand to the stove twice.
No.
And Although generally you would think that somebody does not choose two abusive relationships. That happens, but
Yes, I can vouch for that. It happened.
um,
I didn't know it was until I got into the relationship.
mhm. Yeah, but there's reasons for it that maybe it wasn't identified right away and that sort of thing. Um, I I don't know that you have to have a balance of pain to pleasure. I don't think that if I have 10 units of pain, I need 10 units of pleasure, and if I only have eight, um, I'm in a painful state.
Mm. No, look, I mean, when it comes to balance in that situation, I mean, nobody wants to be in pain at all. Um, and I don't think that's where a balance would work in that situation. I just think you need to know what pain feels like to fully appreciate pleasure or happiness, and
I
vice.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Um, I mean, can a person who has never felt the depths of pain and heartache experience complete euphoria? Sure, I think they can. I don't think I have to have that balanced account.
I'm
I
sure they can, but I'm talking about it being appreciative of it. Appreciating what they have. I mean, if I hadn't gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't appreciate what I've got now. You know,
and and I don't know that that's true either. I think we can learn and understand how good we have it by looking around ourselves and seeing how bad the others have it. We're a complex enough creature that we can learn through inference. We don't have to have direct experience.
oh no, I understand that. Okay, yes, I get that. We can learn through other people and their experiences as well. We don't have to go through we don't have to go through the actual pain of it to say, you know, we can watch a child burn their hand and we already know, don't touch that. That's hot. That's going to hurt. You know.
Hmm.
But I think to fully appreciate it for yourself. I mean, you can still appreciate it if you learn through someone else, but learning, you know, learning for yourself, it sticks more in your head. You understand more. You it's basically burned more into your subconscious than if you learn from someone else.
Hmm. I think this also begs the question: um, does euphoria burn in our conscious, uh, a place in our conscious the same as um, the most terrible of pain burns into our conscious? And I don't know if that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and then maybe it's a completely individualized phenomena that
Mm.
I can look at myself and I can create an answer for that, but that may not be the answer for you or anyone else. Um, which is, of course, what makes dealing with all this so difficult is that each one is so different.
Mm. I guess I've always known that I won't understand what one is without experiencing the other, and that's just how I've always experienced my life. I wouldn't know happiness if I didn't experience pain. Or appreciate happiness if I didn't experience pain. Um, you
Well,
know,
see, I can accept that I can appreciate more.
mm,
I can accept that better than I can accept whether or not I can experience one or the other, dependent on one or the other. Um,
I think appreciation is a better word, to use. Appreciation of the other. I mean, as much as we don't like it, when we go through pain, we appreciate it because we know that we will appreciate the happiness that comes afterwards.
Yeah, and I don't think the severity. Well, no, that's not right. I was going to say the severity of event uh, balances out against the euphoria of another event. And no, I don't want to say that that's not correct. Um, I can okay, back to my own life. That's all I have.
Yeah, but it's fine. That's experience you got in it.
What I can remember times as a kid where my gender dysphoria was so bad, I was ready to just step in front of that bus. Um, and as things resolved, I can remember having moments of euphoria that were generated by something as simple as a single curl of hair on my head. That you see this one curl, and everything that is positive and euphoric about your gender choices and thoughts and feelings solidify at that moment with that one simple thing. And I can't explain where it comes from, but it happens.
Yeah.
Um, and those two definitely do not balance each other with the severity or the intensity, but they do with the final result. The what do I want to say? The final payoff of them. Let's say that.
I think it just comes down to experience. I really do. And understanding. I think it's more understanding than anything else. And I think, as Yaksho has said, he strives for more fulfillment in life than a happy one or a painful one or a joyful one. I think a fulfilled life is experiencing all of them, all the emotions, being hurt or happy, being at a place where life is great, being at a place where life is absolutely crap, you know. But when you get out of that crap and you're in a place where you're happy again, you know, okay, I know what it's like now to not be happy, and I strive to not be there. But it has taught me something. But does not mean that you're never going to be upset again. You're never going to be hurt again, because you will, because there's a lesson to learn from it. There's a lesson to learn from everything you go through. But I think focusing on just the pleasures in life, I don't know, I think it could be a good thing. Do your best to. I think focusing on that, and I think that's what everybody does, is just focusing on what makes them happy and to be happy. I don't know. That's how I see it. What do you think?
It kind of coming down that we're asking what is happiness.
I think that's up to the person. I think that's a personal thing.
Yeah, there is no singular answer.
Because some people are happy killing people, and some people are happy, being with people. Some people are happy just being by themselves. So I think that's a personal preference of what happiness is, and we can't tell them what's wrong or right. However, our morals will tell us that killing people is wrong, but that's their happiness. It's devastating for the person involved or the people involved with that, but that person that is doing that is the one that is happy at that time. And we can't tell them that they're not allowed to be happy during that time, because they're not going to understand what you're talking about. They're happy at that time. How dare you tell them that they're not allowed to be happy at that time? It's who they are. It's that who they are as a person. So I don't know. Your opinion?
Well, I don't know what happiness is. Again, I'm not going to get into nitty gritties, but the major theme that I'm dealing with right now in therapy is has a lot to do with happiness, defining happiness, and uh, certain aspects of happiness that seem unachievable, and trying to deal with um, realizing that some things are unachievable, and that's just the way it has to be, or not has to be, but the way it is.
Yeah.
It has to be, implies that there's choice, and that you can change things, and you can't with some things. And if that is resolved, if I'm able to work that out in my head, well, that in and of itself is going to be a source of happiness.
Yes.
That emptiness is bliss. Maybe I'm saying, it's. I don't know.
I think what Clive Wall says is also good. Each person should be allowed to define what they feel is a worthwhile life, and nobody else's view should count. No, I agree. I completely agree.
I do too. But when what I'm saying here is that early in my life, I made certain um, promises to myself, um, beliefs about myself and my life and life in general,
Mm.
and that if A, B, C, and D are achieved, then happiness will exist, and that I've reached a point in um, senior citizenship, realizing that some of these things are just never ever going to be attained, and I need to deal with that, accept that, or face very negative consequences.
Mm. Yeah, I get that. All
And
right.
if I achieve that, isn't that in and of itself a new happiness that is unexpected, but maybe just as useful?
Yes. Well, like I said, no one can tell you how to be happy. No one can tell you what your happiness is.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness could be, you know, killing someone. That's your happiness. You know, again, no one can tell you what your happiness is. What makes life worthwhile for you. All right. Shall we go on to the last question, guys? Jenny, you ready?
I'm ready.
Cool. Oh, here's one for both of us. Is math something, or math, is math something that humans created or something we discovered? It looks is looking at reality mathematically an accurate representation of how things work. Well,
I've asked this very question of math majors and math teachers and stuff that I know in my life, and my simple answer for it is, as somebody who is a complete failure at mathematics, is that it's both. That we discover some things and they lead to others that we create to serve that discovery. Um, but other things maybe we just create altogether. I mean, we created zero. There was a time when zero didn't exist, or the concept that somebody came up with the concept of zero. What is that, a discovery, or is that a creation? I don't know if you can say. I mean, certainly we can sit here as sophisticated 21st century idiots and say, well, of course it's a discovery because there are states of nothingness, and nothingness is zero, and so therefore it can only have been a discovery.
Yeah.
Really? Why wasn't it discovered from the very first day that we learned to count? Because there was still a point where there were no cows out there to count.
Yeah. Well, Clive reckons it was discovered. We discovered mathematics.
Newton invented calculus.
Yes, but that still came from adding numbers or subtract,
But
putting numbers together.
but it didn't exist until he sat down and figured it out. How much of that was creation and how much was discovery? I can't do calculus, so I don't. I'm very crippled to answer that, but
I think this question would have been perfect for Tony, PhD Tony. This would have been a perfect question for him. But for us non-maths people, it's a difficult question. But coming from Clive, he says it was discovered, and it's. I think invention comes from discovering something that works. So even though we say we invented the wheel, we just discovered that something round goes round and round. So something that was round was already there. You roll a kind of roundish rock, it's going to roll. So they just basically perfected the round and round motion to be easier for humans to use. Just quickly, Yaksho, no problem. Sleep tight, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it very, very much. Sending love to you. Bye.
Bye.
So I think discovery or invention is just discovering something that already exists. Perfecting something that already exists, or figuring it out at least.
Well, okay, let's take that apart. The light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
What about a light bulb existed before it was invented?
Okay, I was just sticking to maths, but yeah, you're correct there. You're correct there.
And as you discovered or not discovered, but developed the light bulb or created the light bulb, there were things that had to occur for it to become functional, useful, and an effective tool, if you will. So were each one of those items discovered, or were they invented because we learned to use them together in a way that never existed before? It's kind of the same thing we ask when we give a patent. Is this a new way of doing something, or am I just combining things that already exist?
Mm.
And in some cases, that in itself is enough to get a patent, but not always.
This question is a very difficult one for my non-mathematical head. I feel like I cheated you, Jenny. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But like I say, I don't pick the questions. I sorted these out blindly months and months and months ago. So I don't know who's getting what questions. So because if I choose questions, then I know the question for the person and I know the answer, and I really thought about the answer. So it's not fair for me to do that. So unfortunately, sometimes questions come to a person that has that, like myself and Jenny, we have no idea. So we're discussing in our layman's terms of how we understand. And we have
I think that's a particularly good thing, is to be forced to dive into the waters you don't know.
I agree, it is a good thing, yes. But it makes me feel like more of a dumbass than, because I mean, I'm not, I know that everyone is clever or intelligent in certain topics that they know, or in certain topics of their life. So, these philosophical questions, I feel like are, I mean, I don't know if this is even a philosophical question, but the way Clive is going on, it's a no-brainer kind of question. It's not even philosophical, but my intelligence lies with what I know. So I know about Scientology. I know about my spirituality. I know about, things that I've experienced in my life. That's where my intelligence lies, and things that I've studied in my life. And the same for you as well. Your experiences, what you studied, what you've learned, and things like that.
Sure.
I don't think intelligence lies with knowing mathematics, knowing physics, knowing biology, and so on and so forth. I don't think that's where intelligence lies. But knowing an answer to this question, I don't know. I'm going to now settle on I don't know. And as much as I'd like to go on what Clive Wells says, the skeptic in me, and yes, I am still a skeptic regardless of my spirituality, will tell me to go and do research. Because I don't know the answer. I'm not going to just take Clive Wells' answer for it as, facts, and that's the end of it. A person should always go and do research. Always. So if we don't know the answer to this question and it still tickles our brain to find out the answer, then we should go and do research about it. If you don't really care, then don't do research. Just, it was a question I didn't know, who cares? Let's move on, But that's just how I see it. In yourself?
I have, over my years, become very comfortable with saying I don't know, and recognizing that there are many, 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 many things that I will never know, and that's perfectly okay.
Yes.
I don't care if I can answer a question like that. It's fun to play with it and try, but to have an answer for it that's definitive, who farting cares? I almost went the whole period without saying a bad word. Sorry.
Well, Carlos brings something very... Yes, of course, he would say something like this. Of course,
see that.
Practitioner. He says, like when you have a medical condition, you don't believe your medical practitioner. It depends on what's happening. Sometimes a second or third opinion does help as well. When it comes to medical conditions,
I'm sorry.
hey, it's all right. It's all right.
That's the difficulty with using a phone. You touch the screen just wrong, and you've given it a command that you didn't intend.
Oopsie. So Clive says, like when you have a medical condition, you don't believe your medical practitioner. Like I say, yes and no. Yes, because he should be the expert. No, I may want to go look for a second or third opinion. I think it's something like, something that he thinks should be the issue. So go and look for a second or third opinion. Because a lot of doctors would say, well, I think it's this condition, Well, then if you think that, then I'm going to go for a second or third opinion, because you saying I think it's this is not good enough for me. There are some conditions where a doctor will say I don't know, but I think it's this, just to give you something. It should never be like that.
I personally tend to believe my medical practitioners to a certain degree. I've been through enough medical training in college and stuff, and working situations to know when I'm getting BS'd and can stay on top of that. I've always been a very strong believer in being proactive health wise, and so I prepare myself with information and what are the right questions to ask and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I would instantly go get a second opinion if I felt I needed it, but for the most part, when I'm told something, I know enough about information around it that I know where to go look it up and find further information to confirm or deny what I think these people are saying. And so I'm generally comfortable with the relationships that I have that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a moot point for me.
Yeah. Well, I think I just offended Clive, and I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I don't doubt mathematicians at all. At all. But if I feel like I would like another opinion, then I'd go for one. That's my prerogative, is it not? But it does not mean. I mean, when people ask, if a flat earther came to me and asked me if I believe the Earth is flat, and I tell them no, then they'll ask me, "Have you done the research? Have you done the experiments?" I'll be, "No, I don't need to do all of that. It's been done for me already. I trust the scientists that have done it for me." Now, when it comes to mathematicians, I don't know about maths, so I'm going to trust them. I was just being hypothetical and going to do the research, because to me, it's okay. If this is what they really say, if this is what they say it is, then that's what it is. I don't know enough about maths to say, okay, I need to go and do more research to see if they're wrong or right. Frankly, I don't care if they're wrong or right. If they say maths, if that's the way it works, and it works that way. That's just me being now honest. As for a medical practitioner, a second, third opinion on my health is where I'd rather go for that second or third opinion. Where maths doesn't influence my medical condition, nor does if the Earth is flat or not. It's that's the only where I'd go for a second or third opinion in terms of mathematics, in terms of my medical condition, or a medical opinion, if I should put it that way. Yes, well, that's the thing. Clive, I'm very, very untrained in terms of maths. I barely remember how to do what do they call it? A sentence sum, or whatever they call it, where you do this plus this equals this times that. I don't remember how to do that anymore. I use a calculator online. That's where I do my maths. I don't do it in my head.
What? You don't do any fast Fourier transforms?
I don't do maths in my head at all.
It's just a term I heard. I don't know what it is.
Oh my goodness. But Clive, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I did not mean to offend you if I did. So I do apologize if I did. But
I don't doubt a mathematician any more than I would a medical person. In this particular question of whether or not math is discovered or created, I've had mathematicians come at me from both sides that they will disagree amongst themselves, and so I think my inability to come to a conclusion on that is perfectly normal, considering the sources for information and so-called answers that I've sought out that these guys don't know. Why should I?
Mm.
I've known math people who are absolutely in one camp or the other. And I would say it mostly leans towards discovery.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go on what Clive has said and say that it's been discovered, but I don't know enough enough about the topic of maths or mathematics to deny it. And just like I don't know enough about astronomy to deny what the scientists are telling me. I don't know enough about geology or biology or any of those to tell that scientist, no, you don't know what you're talking about. So I believe what they say because I trust them to be the professionals in that field.
I learned something about geology this summer.
Oh, that's good. What did you learn?
Well, in much of America, if you take a shovel and start digging down, when you get to maybe a foot and a half deep, maybe 2 feet, you run out of topsoil and run into clay or some other form of native soil for a given region. Where I'm living right now, I'm living in this river valley that's, of course, been here for tens of thousands of years and hundreds of thousands. I don't know, long time. Like back to the glaciers time. It's one of the glacial areas of the country that they can know all sorts of things about. And they were doing some road work, and they were putting in new sewers and lines and all kinds of stuff, and they were digging down like 30 feet, to plant various things, and it was all topsoil. 30 feet thick worth of topsoil. It was just the blackest, richest dirt you've ever seen that's going to grow stuff like crazy. And it's like, holy cow. I never imagined something like this being able to exist. But, of course, it's because it's a river bottom and all the, eons of settling particulates and stuff like that. It's just how it turned out. It was very cool. I felt like a stupid kid that I would discover something so simple this late in life.
No, I think you should always be learning no matter what. No matter what, you will always, if you're not learning, you are not doing something wrong. Really, that's how I see things. Never be content in your learning. All right, I think we've covered everything. I want to thank you, Jenni, for coming into the show. It was really appreciated.
I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Okay, you did. So with that, are you on any other shows coming up?
I don't know. I'm almost always on Purple Rhymes with Oranges shows, the Midnight America and the Midnight America on Tuesdays and then Thursdays. My attendance on movie night has been rather sporadic of late for no particular reason, but it just has been. That's Friday nights at 10:30 Eastern. And Jenni Hoyt and myself are developing on a remake of a show that she used to do with Jen Aldridge, The World According to Jen, or something like that, where we're just going to cover various topics and that sort of thing. But that's under development yet. But stay tuned.
Well, everybody, Jenni is on Twitter, so if you want to go follow her there to keep up with what she's doing and so on, go for it. The link is in the description.
And my DMs are always open.
There we go. So next week, next show, the next show will be the 21st of March. It will be Clive Well's turn, and he will be on my show. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to hearing his voice first of all, and second, his opinion on the next 4 questions. And I want to thank everybody for coming to the show, coming into the chat, giving their opinions, and I appreciate it, every single one of you. Tusk, Clive Wells. I see that. Oh, now my mouse is not moving. There we go. I see. Christian, thank you so much as well. I saw Little Wolf was here. Yaksho, thank you very much. Omar has popped in, and then that was the only thing he said. Then I see Miss Andrat as well. Thank you very, very, very much. Jess as well. Kuzma, who was not chopped liver but chopped kidney. And then, yeah, thank you also for no reason. Thank you all so much for popping in. I do appreciate it very, very much. And I want to let you know that the Scientology show should be coming next week Saturday or the last Saturday of the month. I will let you know if you keep up with my DM, with my Twitter. You'll know. Otherwise, just wait for the notification if you've rung the bell. On that note, if you haven't, please subscribe. Please ring the bell, and if you feel inclined to donate to the cause or become a patron of mine, any funds that come from those monetary options do go towards the stream, helping me stream better, helping me stream faster, and making things easier for me to stream. Other than that, I'd like to thank every single one of you for popping in. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.